The Ottawa Charge win 4-3 in regulation, if you can believe it. It looked like it was going to another overtime game, but just breathe. We won in regulation, got the full 3 points to put ourselves in 4th place, the final playoff spot going into the final 2/5, the final 40% of the season. We've now played 18 games, so we have 12 left. That is where we're past the halfway mark. We are very much alive. Very much alive in this race. Yeah, huge opportunity to lock in, finish this up, finish strong. When we won, New York had a game in hand, and they were facing Boston. And, you know, if they won in regulation, or in overtime, actually, yeah, if they just won in general, New York would have overtaken us again. You know, our next game is against New York. New York's next game is against us. So it, you know, didn't fully matter, right? Like, obviously, whoever wins between us and New York is going to be, you know, in a preferable spot. But New York lost. We go into that game with the advantage, a good advantage, actually. If we get a point, if we just get a point, we will stay in that 4th playoff spot. If we face New York, we lose in overtime, we would still be 1 point ahead of them. If we win in any fashion, that would put us a full win ahead of them or more. If we win in overtime or shootout, that would put us a full 3 points ahead of them. If we win in regulation, that would put us 5 points ahead of them. So we go into that game with advantage. And also look at, you know, both teams' worst case scenario, which is, you know, the regulation loss. We suffer regulation loss. We're right back to being 1 point out of the playoffs with 11 games to go. We win in regulation. They are now 5 points out, and we would actually pull ahead of the Frost. Now, the Frost have games in hand. I do not imagine that the Frost, who are facing the Scepters, and I can't remember who they're facing up next, but I can't imagine that with 3 games in hand, they would fail to get, 1 point should we win in regulation. You know, the Frost are a good team. I have a tough time seeing them drop 9 points 3 games in a row. But still, we have put ourselves in a very good position. This was a weird one. This was a very weird one. First off, I'm worried my video's a little late. I wanted to wait to see how the New York-Boston game, you know, shook out so that we could know what the context is going into our next game. But it's okay that I waited because we all waited. The game starts an hour late. Puck drop officially was marked at 8:02. Now, I know the games that start at 7 never actually start at 7, but they also never actually start after 8. Yeah, there was an issue with the ice. You know, I don't think the refs will ever get a louder cheer in the city of Ottawa than when they put the thumbs up. I mean, look, I know we're the best fans in the league. We are the most passionate fan base by a significant margin, in my opinion. The refs are made aware of that. The refs are pretty keenly aware that we are a very passionate bunch. More often than not, they have to take the brunt of our, how do we put this there, our enthusiasm. But this time, the enthusiasm was, yay, we get that hockey. Quite the delay. Quite a way to start. And I want to say something. The official listed attendance for this game was, let's see, 6,997. So basically, 7,000 people. 7,000. This game, during that hour break, now, this is anecdotal, so obviously I can't say anything for sure, but I didn't really see anybody leaving during that hour stretch. Would have been a fine excuse. Oh, the game still hasn't started. It's like 7:45. I'm going. It's not going to start for another 20 minutes. It's 7:40. No, okay. It's a Wednesday. At the end of the game, I didn't really see anybody leaving early. Maybe like a handful of people. Again, This game went late, like way later than it should have. The game started an hour late, you know. This is downtown Wednesday night. I mean, I had school the next day. I went with a friend who worked the next day. Basically, everyone had school or work or something the next day. It's a Wednesday night. You still got to get home. And yet, we stayed in our seats. And I want to remind you, winning this game put us into 4th place and put us into a playoff spot. Meaning we went into this game outside of the playoffs. We went into this game outside of the playoffs Wednesday night and had a 1-hour delay, and the fans stayed. Anything less than 6,500 seats isn't just a slap in the face, it's a pathetic joke. Are you kidding me? So whenever we talk about the average, I cannot wait to see what the average attendance is going to be this year. Because these are the games where, yeah, I can tell you, there were some games where there were like 5,000 people on a Wednesday night. But with the league growing, with the team growing, with the team playing so well, with the Olympic boost, I want to see how these Wednesdays go. I want to see what our average attendance is. Because something tells me that the average attendance might be a bit above what Lansdowne is going to be offering the Charge. You know, we're going to see how the CTC games... The CTC would be a terrible venue full-time for the Charge. Maybe weekend games. Maybe as like the exclusive weekend spot. And I still am not too fond of it. Obviously, I hope that, you know, LeBreton Flats is where both hockey teams can permanently move to. But I think that this fan base is proving that what's being offered to us isn't going to be enough for a regular season Wednesday night game. Like, Wednesday night is like the worst of them all. Right in the middle of the week. You know, Monday night, well, you know, you just got off of the weekend. Oh, okay, let's have one more fun night. Wednesday's right in the middle. Right in the middle. You know, and to have 7,000 fans show up, the game start an hour late, 7,000 fans stay to the end. Best fan base in the league. Best fan base in the league. And we deserve way more. Way more. Like, with the most rabid fan base you will find. Anyways, let's break down this game. I thought in the first period, and look, I got the shot totals as well. Now, shot totals don't tell you everything, but they tell you a lot. And in the first period, shots ended up being 10-5 for Ottawa. And I felt that is reflective of the play. I thought the first period started pretty even. Both teams had chances. But I felt like we just had a bit more offensive zone time. That we were just, you know, a step ahead. But not like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. But we were playing better. It felt like we were the stronger team. But again, not by like a mile. But again, still, being better by an inch can be really... It's the game of hockey is often a game of inches. So being better by an inch can make all the difference. Yeah, lots of good play from both teams, but I did feel that we were just putting the pressure on a little bit more. Little, you know, obviously more shots, little bit better zone time, little more threatening, and Alexa Vasco scores first this season, 1-0 Ottawa. Just a bounce, and she's just right there for the little backhand, flips it in. They don't ask how, they ask how many. Ottawa on the board first. And after that, that's when I thought that we started to take control of the first period a bit more. You know, shots were you know, even enough to start, and then I felt as the first went on, we did kind of make it our game. And as we do that, less than a minute to go, it's Mrazova to Kadirova, and boom! 2-0 under a minute. Kadirova, I mean, we're going to talk about Venusa Kadirova, who had a great game. Both of her goals were really, really good. She's been silently good, maybe even silently great this year, where oftentimes it's not like, oh, she's the most noticeable big impact player, but it's just when she's on the ice. How do I put this? There's a sense that, like, we're stable. I think that's stability. You have no idea how much of a benefit stability can be. And that's something that you very often won't notice. But instability kills teams. You want to talk about instability? Every single goal against. Every single one was the result of a penalty or penalty shot. When we put the odds in their favor, we got burned. And when we played all even, like, if we didn't take penalties, or if we just took less penalties, we probably could have run away with this one. But we did take penalties. Stability and having a player who will give you that stability, like Kadirova, is good. It's not to say she doesn't take penalties, she does, but there's a sense. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but for me, I got a sense when she's on the ice that, like, she knows what to do, and she's a good anchor to have to just keep the game flowing in a way that needs to flow for us. And this game was a perfect example. I mean, she had a great game. She had a great night. She looked great. She played great. Thumbs up from me. And a great period. 2-0, a 2-goal lead going in to the second period. Can't be mad at that. Literally, it's just keep outplaying them. We don't keep outplaying them. Right away, Seattle comes to play. Now, we do go on the power play, and partway through that power play, we take a penalty of our own. We got this close to a jailbreak. 1 second-ish left in our penalty, maybe 0, or in their penalty, maybe 0, and we had a really good opportunity to score. We don't. Seattle takes control. Seattle sets up, and Jesse Eldridge scores on the power play. It's gonna happen. 2-1. Okay. Not great. Right after. Okay, Catherine Riley, I have to apologize. I wasn't really familiar with your game. Whoa. Dangle of the year? Maybe? I mean, talk about completely undressing a defender and a goaltender to just pass it to Emily Clark. Emily Clark is not missing a wide open net after a play like that and a pass like that. Right back on top by 2. We score 3-1. Emily Clark's heating up second half of this. I was hopefully what happened. She's heating up in the second half of the season. She is. But this goal is completely because of the play by Catherine Riley. I mean, completely. The stick handling. I sit on the side where the Charge shoot in the second period. So I got front row seats to see that dangle. I still cannot believe what I witnessed. It was art. It was a work of art. No notes. We score. We go back on top. But that doesn't really matter because the period after that goal is all Seattle. They walk all over us. I mean, that period alone, I'm surprised we walk out of this period with a lead. But we take another penalty. And again, on the power play, it's Jesse Eldridge. Second goal of the night. For her, it is 3-2. And we get a power play opportunity right back. We don't score. I thought it looked good, not great. And then late in the period, we take another penalty. A penalty that's even going to bleed into the third. And honestly, to me, it's a miracle that they didn't score again in the second. They outplayed us. You want to talk about shots? It was 10-5. Yeah, 10-5. That's pretty good. 10-5 for us in the first. 17-7 in the second. This period is a Gwyneth Phillips masterclass. She keeps us in the game. It only gets better in the third period, by the way, where excluding a penalty shot, she actually shuts them out and makes a few incredible saves. I mean, she makes a bunch of incredible saves. This is a game that we lose with a different goaltender. Maybe Aaron Frankel. Aaron Frankel is the only goaltender where I think we would have won this game if she was in net. Any other goalie any other goalie than the queen herself. Oh, no, not her stick. But Gwyneth Phillips saves us. Absolutely saves us. This is a game that we don't win. We don't win if it's anybody else. Third period, I thought was the most even period. Shots even reflect that, 14-10. For both teams to get double-digit shots in the same period is a sign that you just witnessed an all-time great period. And the third period really was an all-time great period. Both teams had so many chances, so many opportunities. Right? We get the third period, and right off the bat, we still gotta kill that penalty, right? We do. We kill it. The little time that's left, we kill, and then we get one, and the same thing. Looks good. Can't score. Ooh, this is becoming a theme. Getting power plays that look good, but you just can't quite deliver. And then what do? We take a penalty of our own. Kill a penalty, get a power play, take a penalty, like back and forth. And, I'm getting worried as we keep taking, penalties is how they've gotten into this game. A game that we otherwise probably could have put on autopilot. We're making a game out of it by giving them opportunity. Again, we kill the penalty. Alex Carpenter on a breakaway. From the looks of it, Phillips was saving the shot anyways. So why we need to swing our stick in there and take a penalty? I don't know, because this is not a penalty. It is a penalty shot. You have given the Alex Carpenter a penalty shot up by 1 with half a period to go. What do you think happens? That's right, the first penalty shot goal in the history of the PWHL, which gives Ottawa the distinction of being the first team to both save and give up a penalty shot in PWHL history, right? Marie-Philippe Poulin, Alex Carpenter, which, I mean, both of those players, my goodness, what a rap sheet. Poulin, Carpenter, wow. But Carpenter ultimately scores, and it is a tie game. First penalty shot in the history of the league that ended up as a goal. 0-7 before, now it's 1-7. The rest of the third period, it's still close. But you're like, oh, that stings. The fact that it's all penalty shots and power plays. And then, you were like, overtime's a different beast, and you don't know what's going to happen. I do want to address, reffing a little bit. There was some boos in the crowd, right? There were some. Both teams got away with calls. Both teams got calls. So I'm gonna I don't want to hear it. Charge fans, we won. Seattle fans, both ways. I thought the reffing was, it was fine. There were missed calls. There were calls that I was like, really? One of the calls where I was like, really? Just under 2 minutes to play. Michaela Grant-Mentis takes a penalty, and Ottawa goes on the power play. I'm going to be honest, looking at the replay, I'm like, that is totally a penalty, but my goodness, 2 minutes left in the game, and they've let a lot worse than that go. There were other plays that looked worse that didn't get called. It's a penalty. And, I get it. If you see a penalty, you have to call a penalty, even if you missed other ones. But, this game was chippy, and, it felt like, we were, refs were letting some stuff go. And look, I'm looking at the penalty list, and Seattle, Ottawa, Seattle, Ottawa, Seattle, Ottawa, Seattle. Like 8 penalties down the middle. Both teams got 4. But, if I was a Seattle fan, I could see this rubbing me the wrong way. I'm sorry, 365 Hockey Girl, because I'm sure that was not fun to watch, especially considering that you had to wait a little while for the game to even start. Yeah, that was my thought, right? If I was a Seattle fan, oh boy, I'd feel awful after this game. An hour delay, only for this penalty, and right away, wow, one timer. She is winding up the whole time. She is ready to unload a cannon, and Vanusa Kadirova, second of the game. Under 2 minutes to go. 4-3. Ottawa takes back the lead. Seattle throws everything and the kitchen sink at us. They give us their all. And we nearly get the empty netter, but we don't. And there's 10 seconds left, and Seattle enters the zone. And will they have enough time? And oh, they do. It's Jesse Eldridge right there, open net to tie it up. Gwyneth Phillips with the pad stop with a second left. Getting flashbacks of Marc-Andre Fleury Game 7. Just boom. What a save. Time runs out. Get Gwyneth. Charge. Win. 4-3. 3 points. Now we go to New York. And we give ourselves a huge opportunity. We win in New York. What would that do? That'd do a few things. Well, first off, we have a game in hand. A game in hand on Toronto. So we win that game in regulation. We would go, boom. Instead of being 2, we'd be 5 points ahead of the Sirens. That would actually put us a point ahead of the Frost, who I assume will eventually catch up. But the other thing is the Golden Eyes were one. We have played one more game than them. The Torrent, we played 2 more games than them. This was huge, beating the Torrent. If the Torrent win this game, and if they win it in regulation, instead of us having 26 and them having 16, we'd have 23, they'd have 19. They'd be a game in hand, 4 points back. That is so doable. We've placed them 10 points out of the playoffs. That is more than 3 games. If they win their next 3 games in a row, they're still a point out of the playoffs if every game is a regulation win. The benefit that they have is that they have 2 games in hand on us. They have that time. But I'm going to be honest. If after they play their games in hand, actually we're going to play beforehand. So let's say we do win in regulation, or even just in general. If we are 12, 13 points ahead of them, and they drop their next game or 2, even if they drop them in overtime, at what point does tanking become the only option? Because 10 points, 14 games left, that's doable. But if it's, say, 10 points with, 9 games left, it's technically doable. It's probably not gonna happen. If you're down by enough, at what point does it become good to just get mathematically eliminated to start getting those points? We might see that question get kind of answered soon. Because we're giving ourselves some good distance from Seattle. Same with Vancouver. Vancouver, only 1 game in hand. We are 7 points up on them. That's significant. If we can make it 13 points ahead of that, ahead of Seattle, and if we could make it 10 points ahead of Vancouver with 3 games in hand, 2 games in hand, that comfortably puts them in a situation where they start to question if the playoffs is really the end goal. Because only 4 teams make it this year. It's not like, last season where it's 4 to 6. 4 out of 8. Only half the league is going to make it. At what point will we start to see teams try to get eliminated so that they can start winning for the first overall? I'm not going to say anything yet. I think everybody's still in it. But we are, I would say, depending on how it goes, in a week or two, it's very possible that New York, Toronto, and Ottawa and Minnesota are the only realistic teams for the last 2 playoff spots. We could make it so that Minnesota, Ottawa, New York, and Toronto are the 4 teams that are in the hunt. Depends on how our games go. And of course, obviously, now our next game would affect New York. And if we win in regulation, then it makes catching up to them a lot easier for other teams, but it makes catching up to us a lot harder. But we've put ourselves in a good spot. Now we have to beat New York. I'm going to be honest. You have to win that game. If you win that game, you put yourself in such a good spot. If you lose that game, you're right back to just being in the mix. You want to separate yourselves. Again, I'm going to look back at the standings. Oh, the paper's gone. Well, all this to say, if we play well, the question could be less of Ottawa, Minnesota, New York, Toronto, and Ottawa, Minnesota, Montreal, Boston. That's the conversation we want to be in. There's one step closer to that. Big game against New York. Got to finish it off. If you like this, like the video. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see my reactions to the rest of the season and how things unfold. And as always, go Ottawa, go!